They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I don't buy it not for a second. In my experience, revenge is best served at about 65 miles an hour, just thought enough to be a little bit slushy and flung with extreme prejudice straight into the heart of a garden party with a crowd full of people who never saw it coming. But hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you want to understand how I ended up launching a year's worth of frozen dog poop over a white picket fence, you need to know about the bin first. I'm Mark, 32, systems engineer, the kind of person who alphabetizes his spices and feels genuine satisfaction when a spreadsheet auto-sorts just right. I like rules. I like order. Maybe that's why suburbia suits me, or it did, until my neighbor moved in. See, in these neighborhoods, the homeowners association is the real law of the land. You think the police run things? Nah, it's the folks who argue about mailbox paint. Let me paint you a picture. Tuesday morning, sunlight just starting to creep through the blinds. I hear that familiar prehistoric rumble the garbage truck. There's the crash, the squeal, the thunk as bins are upended and emptied. I step outside in slippers, mug in hand, feeling lighter than I have all week. That's what an empty bin does to you. It gives you hope. A clean slate. 6 glorious days until the cycle begins again. Unless, of course, you live next to Mrs. Higgins. Calling her my neighbor is generous. She's more like the final boss in a video game you never asked to play. 70s, prim as a Victorian schoolmarm, with hair lacquered into a shell that'd survive a tornado. Always in those floral print blouses and a scowl that says she's personally offended by gravity. Her house, manicured within an inch of its life. Her lawn looks photoshopped. She's got a dog, too. Princess. I know, ironic. Princess is technically a Shih Tzu, but emotionally, she's a gremlin. That dog hates everything, squirrels, the wind, possibly herself. But Mrs. Higgins? She loves her. And that's where the war began. Spring morning, birds outdoing themselves, trash bin freshly emptied. I'm at the window, breathing in peace, watching dew twinkle on the grass. Here comes Mrs. Higgins, shuffling along with Princess in tow, both ready to terrorize the world. Princess squats, does her business whatever. It's life, I get it. Mrs. Higgins bags it up. Neon green. Tai's opportunity note. Good citizen, right? Wrong. Instead of going back up her own driveway to toss it in her can, she walks over, lifts my just emptied bin, and plops that bag right in. Like it was nothing. Like my bin is just community property. She even pats the lid, satisfied, then struts back as if she's dropped off a fresh batch of cookies. I stood there, coffee halfway to my lips, brain buffering. You know that feeling when someone cuts you in line, but makes eye contact, like they want you to challenge them? That was me. That bag wasn't sitting on top of a week's worth of trash. No, it was alone, king of the bin, destined to bake in the sun all week. My week. My bin. Look, I tried. I called out, put on my best neighbor face, tried to reason with her. Hey, Mrs. Higgins, mind tossing your bag in your own bin? The truck just left. It's going to get gross. She looks at me like I'm the one with the problem. Mark, it's a garbage can. For garbage. And then, in that syrupy voice only people who enjoy writing complaint letters can master, she tells me it's public property on collection day. She says her sciatica is acting up. Never mind, her bins are literally closer to her front door than mine. I got the brush off, the have a blessed day, and she vanished. That should have been it, right? I could have reached in, grabbed the bag, but something in me snapped. I left it. I left it as a point of principle. That bag became a symbol of everything wrong with neighborhood politics. Fast forward a week Tuesday. I'm on guard, coffee in hand, listening for the garbage truck like it's a predator and I'm prey. The second my bin's emptied, I drag it behind my fence. Huh, victory. But when I come out later, there's a green bag sitting exactly where my bin had been. Dead center of my driveway, warm and squishy and tied up with a little bow. She watched, too. I saw the curtain twitch. Game on. What did I do? Did I retaliate in kind? You bet I did. I picked up that bag and throw it, didn't stomp on it. I just set it neatly on her fancy welcome friend's doormat. Felt righteous. Felt just. Until I got home from work and found the HOA notice taped to my front door. Official letterhead. Notice of violation. Biohazardous waste. Harassment of a board member. Wait, board member? Turns out Mrs. Higgins is the HOA president. I had just declared war on the queen herself. She threatened fines. Legal action. My blood boiled. That was the click. The moment you stop caring about being the bigger person. I went full engineer mode. You know what Mrs. Higgins did the next day? She upped her game. Waited until I left for work. Then let herself into my backyard trespassing to drop her little gift in my bin behind the gate. It was surgical. It was petty. I realized then, this wasn't about garbage. This was about control. I needed a plan. So I built one. It started at Home Depot. Chest freezer, vacuum sealer, industrial bags. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Every time Mrs. Higgins or Princess left me a present, I vacuum sealed it. Labeled it with date, time, weather conditions, everything. Stored it in the freezer. My girlfriend, Sarah, found out eventually. She's an ER nurse, nothing shocks her, but this came close. When I explained, she just shook her head and said, "What's your end game? Compost? Revenge museum?" I didn't have an answer, not then. But the universe provided. Mrs. Higgins announced her annual garden gala. The event. White tent, catering, the whole shebang. Sarah looked at the growing stash in our garage and said, "You should do something with that. For justice." And just like that, the idea clicked. I needed a delivery system. Enter Rusty. You want something engineered for vengeance? You find a guy who's been blacklisted by the HOA for parking his rusted-out pickup on the street. Rusty's a mountain of a man, smells like sawdust and gasoline, hands like shovels. I show him my blueprints, a decorative trellis hollowed out, rigged with tension springs, a disguised trebuchet hiding in plain sight. We build in a week. Oak beams, steel cables. The throwing arm blends right in. Rusty's a genius, modifies everything, makes it bulletproof. We ran tests with water balloons in the rain, calibrating for range, arc, and splatter pattern. By the end, we could hit a 10-foot circle at 40 yards. The neighbors just thought we were passionate about gardening. Then the big day. Gala time. Weather perfect, tent glowing, harpist plucking away. I'm behind a fence, cooler stacked, Sarah and Rusty at my side. Mrs. Higgins steps up for her speech, something about maintaining standards and rising above the riffraff. That's my cue. Rusty loads the first volley semi-thawed, heavy, with just the right amount of give. I line up the shot. Target. Airspace over the patio. Fida, EV spit. The arm snaps forward. 5 little packages arc over the fence, catching the sun, falling like justice. 1 bursts on the buffet, another splatters on the tent, a third hits the harpist. The crowd goes silent, then chaos erupts. People shriek, duck, run for cover. Mrs. Higgins just stands there, speckled and stunned, until the smell hits. That's when the screaming starts. We reload. Second volley's even better, 1 bag lands in a champagne bucket. Rusty's howling with laughter. The grand finale? The mega bag. A week's worth, frozen solid, the nuke. We load it, max the tension, let it rip. Direct hit on the catering table, explosion of chocolate and horror. Mrs. Higgins shrieks. My gala! My gala! Sirens start wailing. Rusty slips out the back. I sit down, crack a beer, wait for the cops. They show up fast, expecting a crime scene. I play dumb, walk them through the backyard. The trellis just looks like a fancy piece of carpentry. The officer prods it, sniffs the air, eyes me suspiciously. Your neighbor says you bombarded her party. With what? I say all innocence. Who has a catapult in the suburbs? They can't prove a thing. Mrs. Higgins moved 3 months later. The legend of the brown rain lives on. Some blame the sewers. Some say eco-terrorists. Only a few of us know the truth. The new neighbor? He's got a cat. Stays indoors. The trellis is still there, a silent guardian, just in case peace needs to be enforced. Because in this neighborhood, sometimes karma just needs a little engineering. So, let me ask you, where's the line? When the people in charge bend the rules to suit themselves, when power gets petty, what's the right response? Ever gone to war with a neighbor over something that seemed small but felt huge? I'd love to hear your stories. Drop them below. Let's settle once and for all. Is there such a thing as going too far, or is payback its own kind of justice?
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.